To present our last and final award, the $20,000 Modern Day Sam Adams. Please welcome Chairman and CEO of Sam Adams Alliance, Eric O'Keefe.
Thank you, thank you. Here's how this award works. The eligible people are everyone who is nominated in one of the other categories but did not win. So those are the nominees, and you've heard a little bit about all of them. So one of the not yet winners has won our big prize, and that person is Tim Iman. And Tim is one of those patriots who has a lot of fun at politics, and I'd rather hear from him than talk. I'm just going to tell you a couple of things about him. He's been a warrior for the taxpayers of the state of Washington for a dozen years. He was getting abused the way many of us are now, before the Tea Parties. So he's had it from the left. He's been vilified and so forth, and he takes it with a laugh and comes back fighting. Here's the best thing that he did. And the initiative they have in Washington State is statutory only. They can't amend the Constitution. So the legislature can come back and change it. And in defiance of the popular vote, Tim got a measure passed to require a 2/3 vote of the legislature to raise taxes. And a few years later, they repealed it. So Tim Iman went back last year in 2010, put it on the ballot, spent $50,000 in the campaign. The tax eaters spent $1.5 million, and the citizens of the blue state of Washington gave 64% of the vote to Tim Iman's measure. So, Tim.
Cameras, God, I just hate them. I just hate them. No, thanks very, very much. Wow, very cool. Well, the initiative process, I think, is really integral to our form of government. I often hear that they talk about the fourth branch of government is the initiative process, and I always thought to myself, what are you talking about? It is the only branch. It is the people themselves that are making the decision, and all the other branches of government wouldn't exist if not for us. We coined a phrase when we first started about 15 years ago doing citizen initiatives, and we called it permanent offense. The idea was to always be on offense, because what we're always susceptible of doing is simply fighting back against government and what they're doing, and it was important for us to put the government on the defense instead. And so with every initiative that we do every year, whether we're successful or not, it's just simply getting out there and mixing it up and giving the people a voice has always been my greatest joy, and my greatest love is ultimately the decision is up to the voters. And one of the things I loved about the initiative process so much is that everyone is equal. No person is more powerful than another. The governor's vote in Olympia counts just as much as my mother's vote does in Yakima. And one of the reasons I love that is to watch the reaction of elected officials to suddenly find out that they're just like everybody else and they're no more powerful than anyone else. And I think that humbling experience is an extremely positive aspect of the initiative process. And as Eric said, one of the funnest things about the initiative process is that there are no basic rules. And some of the backstory on this 2/3 initiative that makes it even more fun was we passed this initiative back in 2007, and it passed by a pretty comfortable margin. Last year, the legislature was in the process of repealing it. And our governor had a bill signing in favor of repealing our initiative. Now, normally at a bill signing, the people who show up at a bill signing are the people who were really excited to be part of this, and they were given a pen and all this kind of stuff. And so I ended up going to the bill signing for the repeal of our initiative. And I was suit and tie, somewhat respectable, out of character. And I went, and as she signed it for the formal photo, I held my nose and I gave the thumbs down. And she turned around and said, "Tim, now behave yourself." And I said, "I am behaving myself." This is a restrained version, because it was so maddening to watch what the voters had voted for be repealed by their governor. And as I stood there, kept waiting, I wanted my pen. I really wanted that pen for that bill signing, because I wanted to use that pen to help collect signatures for the new initiative that was going to resurrect this idea that the voters just got through voting for. Now, as maddening as it was watching her take this thing away, I was energized by the fact that I could tell that they were on the defensive, that they were having a really, really difficult time doing this, because they knew what they were doing was wrong, but they were doing it anyway. And so when we did this sequel initiative, what was really fun, it was just to watch the enormous amount of people that were somewhat even against the initiative the first time, but said it was just wrong that they would take it away. And so the first time the initiative passed, it passed with 51% of the vote. The second time it passed, as he said, with 64% of the vote. But what was even more delicious was watching how many Democrats lost their seats because they took that away from us. And sometimes it's hard to tell who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, and this was a really opportune time to be able to see who were the bad guys, and the voters punished them for it. So, you know, the Sam Adams Alliance is just a heroic organization. I have so many mentors and heroes that I have. Paul Jacob wrote about me recently, and he's just a hero of mine, and his opening salvo of his column was, "Everybody hates Tim Hyman." And so that was, I forgave him for that, because he explained that that was okay. But Mike Dunmeyer and Kelly Carrender, two just heroic people that are just incredible in Washington as far as supporting these efforts. And as many of the speakers have talked about, you know, politics is a team sport. It's not one person doing anything. It's ultimately all of us trying to do what we can to inspire people to do better than what they think they can do. And as roles as activists, you know, other than my family, my greatest joy in life is being an activist. There's just something about that that's incredibly gratifying, that you have no title, you have no crown, nobody ever bows to you, nobody ever is, you never have any real respect, if you will, from the powers that be. But as an activist, your goal is to be able to achieve something despite the fact that you don't have the credentials, you don't have all these titles after your name. So being an activist is a heroic thing. I encourage everyone to do everything you can, but to never play defense, but to always go on offense and put them on the defensive for a change. So thank you very much.